Welcome to Marketecture, where you can get smart fast with in-depth interviews of leading technology vendors. I'm Jeremy Kagan, and I'm here with Larry Kim, the CEO and founder of MobileMonkey. I got to meet Larry when he was running his previous company, where you might know him as he was extremely well known in the industry, WordStream. And I'm really glad to have him here today for his next adventure. Larry, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Just sort of top level for those who may have not been familiar with what you're up to now. What does your product do?
So currently the product is a sales outreach automation tool. The way you could visualize this product is it's as though you're hiring a robotic incarnation of a sales team that would follow up on every single lead that comes into contact with your business, trying to ask them one or two qualifying questions. And if qualified, then trying to drive them through some kind of a lead engagement funnel where we try to get their information and get them to take an action, like viewing a webinar or writing a review or booking some kind of an appointment. So this is all customizable, but again, this is sales outreach automation for mid-market companies. A lot of these companies don't have dedicated sales teams, or maybe they have smaller dedicated sales teams. And this is just a ton of leverage. Our experience is that companies actually do have some leads. They don't know who's qualified and who to talk to. And so, typically, if you were a bigger company, you would hire salespeople to do this work. But it's just a repetitive, mindless work that we figured, why not just automate the whole thing?
So this is an automated system to help leverage people with lead-based sales systems. And you're saying it talks to potential leads and qualifies them in quite a way. What channels are we talking about here?
Sure. The way that I would describe this is that we have two parts to this product. The first part is a very, very easy and powerful to use templatized based automation builder. So this is, you choose the objective, like maybe you're trying to create a welcome sequence or a welcome back sequence or drive people to a webinar or to an appointment. So there's these templatizable outreach cadences that work by sending, emails or text messages or, saving data to a Google Sheet or just an automation builder. And it's very, very easy to use. And then what's interesting about this is that you can then connect those sales outreach automations to business applications that typically don't provide built-in sales outreach follow-up capabilities. So for example, you could connect it to your Instagram account. Anyone who engages with your content or goes on your live streams or messages you through Instagram, there's tons of these different triggers. And the gist of it is that you could then marry kind of the automation sequence that you've chosen and customized to the input triggers, from these different business applications and social applications that, again, historically haven't had any kind of built-in sales outreach automation capabilities in them. So other platforms that we support include Facebook, so we can automatic follow up to people who engage with your Facebook page, and also website integration. So like people who fill out forms on your website or chat with you on your website chat, or we can even resolve identities of anonymous visitors to your website and turn those into phone numbers and emails for follow-up purposes. So the idea here is to support more and more channels over time, and we're actively working on supporting WhatsApp and other business applications.
So let's dig into those three areas. First, you mentioned that you have a lot of different sequences that you could support. So you illustrated a welcome sequence. What are some other typical sequences or cadences of communication that you would support?
Right now, there's a couple dozen of these templates, but really there's hundreds of different possibilities. But the greatest hits in terms of outreach cadences is a welcome message. So that's someone just briefly engaged with your brand, and normally because you don't have time in the day to follow up with all of them, typically no one follows up with it with anyone. And so what we're saying is, instead of not doing anything, why don't you just have the robot salesperson send them a cadence of a dozen emails over the next 2 weeks and a couple text messages with some information about what your company does and why you should care. And so that even if they're not in market for the products that you're selling at that moment, there's a better chance that they'll remember what you do and who you are if you do some kind of follow-up cadence. And then we make that very easy. Kind of a close cousin of that is the welcome back sequence, which is kind of it's just another automation triggered by someone engaging with you the second time. And for that, I would recommend just kind of tweaking the verbiage to being a little bit more down funnel. So instead of high level information about your business, perhaps you could speak more specifically about specific offers or deals or packaging or pricing of products and services that you have available.
And so that sounds like a couple of good examples. You said you have templates for these different journeys. How many templates are available? And does the customer customize them? Do you guys do that? How does that work?
At the moment, there's a couple dozen of them, although I do envision it to explode to basically like a Netflix catalog of thousands of templates where you search for different business use cases and also different, you could create flavors of these templates for plumbers, for, consultants, coaches, whatever. And we could customize also by tech stack. So like if the core CRM that you're using is HubSpot, then, show me the templates that are relevant to HubSpot. So right now it's about a dozen of the core ones, but we can see that exploding to thousands in the near future.
And so when I go in and I select from one of these dozens of templates, does my team then customize a script? Does it happen automatically? Is there some sort of combination there? How does that actually end up happening?
Sure. When you choose a template, it asks you some basic questions like, what is the personal identifiable information that you're trying to capture, like phone number and email or other things? Like you could say, like, how many qualifying questions would you like to ask? How many follow-up sequence messages would you like to send? How would you like to be notified of the leads? Because this is a service. This is not like a one-time blast. This is like something that gets configured and runs like in real time, whenever a specified trigger happens. And so like, how would you like to be notified? So there's just like a one-page setup for that automation. And then once you click go, that then builds the automation, which you can then customize. So at that point, all you're customizing is just kind of the wording of the outreach, like the text messages and the emails.
Oh, that's great. And you had mentioned that the second sort of area of inquiry I wanted to dig into is what you just mentioned about integrations. So you said, for example, HubSpot. Let's start with sort of generally CRM and lead management systems. What are your main ones that you integrate with and can work with?
So we support Zapier as both an input source as well as an output source. So you could pull in leads from MailChimp or, any number of 1,000, CRMs. You could pull in data and then run it through this magical automation sequence to try to kind of suss out like who are the unicorns in the sea of donkeys there, like which ones are qualified and which ones are not qualified. So that would be using these different CRMs as input sources. You could also use those different CRMs as output sources. So like, maybe you're pulling in data from like Instagram or Facebook, but you don't want to dump everything into your CRM. You only want to kind of copy things over if they've kind of answered the qualifying questions affirmatively to the way that you wanted them to do so. And in which point you could then customize these templates to export or dump the data into one of these CRMs. Now, we do support thousands of them through Zapier integrations, but natively we support integrations with MailChimp, HubSpot, as well as Google Sheets.
Thanks for listening. To hear the complete interview, subscribe at marketecture.tv.